as we have a beautiful patch of autumn sunshine in my bedroom cum workshop, I thought I'd talk about solar sensor wall lights. These are these things that they light up when somebody goes past, and they're charged by solar panels, so you don't have to wire them in. And they come in all different flavours. Very confusing, really, because you've got these three, which are all designated solar motion sensor light, as you can see. Solar motion sensor light. So you should install those in your bathroom, I think. They're for sensing motions. Anyway. So these three have all got 30 LEDs, 30 small LEDs in the panels. But there's another type. Here, look. These are called solar sensor wall lights. And they've only got, what's this one got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. By 1, 2, 3, 4. That one's got 20 LEDs. But then another one, also labelled solar sensor wall light. Oops. That's got 30 LEDs. And the writing is just slightly different to the other ones. So these are all different batches, and you see them all over eBay, all branded differently. And they're all different. And I really shouldn't have done this on a sunny day because I can't see the screen. It's a stupid idea. Okay, so this is one of the 30 LED units, one of the original ones that I got a couple of years ago. And there's the solar panel on top. It's quite a good solar panel in terms of performance. It generates about 6 volts open circuit and about 35 milliamps short circuit. And a pretty poxy looking cell, 18650 cell, hardwired in. You can see there was an attempt at a battery connector, battery holder here, but they never fitted the springs and things, so they've just hardwired the wiring directly to the battery. And the thing is held in, the battery is held in by these things protruding from the rear lid. They clamp down on the battery. So that's quite ultra cheap, really. These cells weigh absolutely nothing. I don't think they've got much juice in them, because juice is heavy, and I mean the more juice you've got, the heavier the battery. So these are quite unjuicy. There's a little controller board, which seems to differ from each device. They're all different manufacturers. I think there's somebody makes the outside cases, then different people make the innards. And I'm having terrible trouble with the focus, sorry. What else? Yeah, the problem with this one, the only problem with this one, is that the solar cell fell off. So it's stuck on with tape. Here you are. This is what the solar cell... Oh, look, the sun's going away. This is, if you can see, there's a hole with the wires coming through. I've stuck some tape over it. And the thing was gummed in with this patch of glue, which goes hard, and then it doesn't stick anymore. So that's the problem with that one. This is an original, unmodified one. 30 LEDs, standard battery, etc, etc. But the passive infrared detector there, and a little switch to switch it on and off. And this one doesn't work. Now here's an unmodified 20 lead unit. Oh no, sorry, 30 leads. This one, it's got the original battery and a different circuit board, look. It's completely different. And the battery holder is just simply a clip. Battery just clips in there. And it's held in with some slightly different lugs on the back, slightly deeper look than the originals. And yeah, this is and the solar connections come in at the top corners instead of behind the battery, so you can see how they vary. Here I've put them side by side as a comparison. Apart from all the tape, you can see that the circuit board is completely different in these two cases, and the holes, the shape of the holes are different in the plastic, and the solar panel connections come in there, and they come in here on this one, at the top. So the colours they use for the wiring is just anything it doesn't really matter to them what colours they use. They'll use red for negative and black for positive and yellow for anything. It's just completely random. Now here's another type. This one, top connections for the cell, but this one's got a battery holder on the rear panel, and it's got actual metalwork in the battery holder. So that's different again. See, here's the others. You know, they're just all different. Now the box says PIR sensor, yes, and CDS night sensor. CDS, cadmium sulfide. Where is it? I can't see a cadmium sulfide photoresistor anywhere. That's the silicon solar cell as far as I know. And it's that acts as the night sensor, the solar cell itself. This is the back of the box. And he mentions the solar panel, the lithium ion battery, 1200 milliamp hours. I dispute that. I don't think it is. The LED, night sensor, motion angle. Yes, these are very, very sensitive. They certainly work from a very good distance. 5 meters, yeah, probably. I'm quite impressed with how sensitive they are. Delay time and the lighting mode. Now, this varies. Some of these have got an off position, and in the on position, they've only got the two positions, off and on. And in the on position, they start to glow at night. And in the off position, they're just completely off. So, but these particular ones, they're either off or on, you know. They come on when they sense something at night, and then they stay on for 10 seconds and they go completely off. Versus some of them actually stay on dimly all night, and then light up bright if they see something happening, and then they go back to dim. So that's something to be wary of, is the type that you get. There's a view of an actual circuit board with the solar panels are marked S and the battery connections are marked B. There's a little chip in the middle. This is an unmodified one. Now what's the problem with this? The problem with this, and the reason why several of them failed initially, is there's no battery protection on that battery. The solar panel generates 6 volts. The battery mustn't go above 4.2 volts. When it's sunny, the battery is completely cooked. by the solar panel. The solar panel's got plenty of output and it cooks the battery. Not only that, if you get a lot of activations at night and you haven't had much charging during the day, the battery will discharge right down to less than 2.4 volts, at which point the battery's ruined. So they last about 3 months in this unmodified state. So what I've done in a number of these is to modify them by replacing the original battery with a 3300 milliamp hour and installing a battery management module. These modules are dirt cheap and they're quite simple to install. Hang on, let me look at it. There's 2 connections on the end which go to the battery, and then there's 2 connections in the middle which go to your circuit, and that's it. That's all there is to it. And the point of those is that they prevent the battery from overcharging and they prevent the battery from over discharging. So that will stop it cooking in the bright sunlight and stop it degrading due to over discharging at night. Very, very worthwhile. I think these things come in a stick. You probably get half a dozen for £1. It's ridiculous. I'm not sure if that's a good name for a lithium cell. Ultra Fire. Now, I didn't see it at the time when I bought these batteries, but it actually says rechargeable battery with re or discharging protection circuit. So I don't know whether these are protected cells and I've just added an extra layer of protection, but I don't trust them to do what they say. It might say it's got this circuit, but it might not actually have it. I don't know. Maybe one day I'll tear one of these batteries down and find out what's inside it. Oh, and yes, I'm aware I keep saying battery when I should say cell. It's a cell. I should also mention at this point there's absolutely no waterproofing around the solar cell. It's just slapped in there on a pile of glue. And these connections here, sometimes they're exposed, and these connections here are exposed, and they oxidise. They go manky if the water gets on them. So that's not very good. So after modifying the cells and the charging circuit, I then protected them with some silicon sealant along these edges. Actually, it didn't stick very well. It's starting to come off now. It's of dubious benefit. But yeah, I used low modulus silicon glazing sealant with the idea that it would expand and contract and stay relatively. It wouldn't crack away from the glass. So the question is, after all these modifications, why did they still fail? I have to say this one gave a good year's service outside, a year or more actually, it's probably 2 years. But eventually it failed, and the reason why it failed is this solar panel. You probably can't see, but it's gone completely matte. Now let's find a good one. Find a good one, she says. Right, there's a good one. It's nice and shiny. And there's the bad one, which has gone all matte. It really doesn't show up particularly well, but yeah, it's gone matte. And that one generates no output. There's no... It generates the voltage. It generates 6 volts beautifully, but it generates about 0.8 milliamps. That's all. So it wasn't able to keep the cell charged, and hence it eventually failed. But the cell is fine. The the cell. Oh, I'll put the screws on that one. It's got one of those ultrafire cells in, and that's perfectly okay. This one was outside in a more shady position, so it's gone matte, but not quite as matte as the other one. And this one's a real disappointment. This was on the wall outside the kitchen door, where it hardly sees any light at all. It might get an hour of sunshine in the middle of the day, and the cell has gone completely white. Despite its appearance, this solar cell actually still works perfectly, still generates 6 volts, and it still generates a short circuit current of 35 milliamps. Now look, here there are 2 tiny holes in the actual surface of the device. I don't know whether they've blown out due to temperature or what, but the funny thing is the cell actually still works. But the light itself has failed. It doesn't turn on. I think something's gone wrong in the circuitry. Now this one has been modified. The battery is still 3.9 volts. That's okay. The solar panel still gives plenty of voltage out, measured on those pins. The solar panel's a little bit opaque, but this one doesn't turn on either. It just doesn't turn on, so same fault as the other one. There's something wrong with the circuitry, which is strange, isn't it? Now here's something else I want to point out. Do you see the corrosion on those battery terminals? They're white and fluffy, and on all of these terminals here, you probably can't see it, but they're a bit oxidised, a bit fluffy and white. It doesn't show up very well, but these up here are quite crusty. So the screws are corroded as well. So although no water got into this, the battery connections were blobbed with glue just to stop them dropping off. The wires are so fine they'll just pull off, so they'll blobbed with glue for mechanical stability. But because of the mastic on the outside, no water got into this device, but condensation got in, and the condensation has messed up the connections a little bit. I don't think that stops it working, but on the ones I've modified more recently, I've slathered the circuit board with Vaseline, petroleum jelly. Now you could use lacquer, I suppose, but I quite like Vaseline because in the sunshine it melts and runs and wicks its way up the wires and just generally protects everything. So I think that's a good thing to do. This one is very crusty, as you can see. Oh look, spider! There's a spider in there. He's met his end, hasn't he? So we've got 2 basic sorts of printed circuit board. There's this one with a chip in the middle, and there's this one with the chip at the side. But even within those, they vary. So you've got this one has got the separate battery connections and the chip in the middle and the solar cell connections at the top. As you can see, the way they've carefully put red and black wires on the panel, so you know exactly which polarity it is. Oh, it's red and blue on that one, and I bet you that's the negative. Now this one, the switch connections on that one are small, the switch connections on that one are large. Okay, and this one's got a loose battery and no holder. Moving along to the 3 that are similar, you have the chip on the left and the battery, the switch. Where's the switch? I think that's the switch connections. These three are similar, but not quite the same. And on this one, they forgot even to crack off this extra bit of printed circuit board. So basically, I have a whole scrapyard of solar lights to be fixed. I'll reverse engineer some of these circuit boards and find out what the faults are and let you know in another video. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed it, just give me a thumbs up. Thank you. Bye.